to like see people, and that's like the cooler thing is it's like you see the devs and you're like, oh hey, like nice like updates on game and you can talk or whatever, and you're not really like here for like the lights, you're there for like the people and like the community.
Yeah, I mean, I'm finding it as like I know more and more people that PAX is like the most exciting part of these shows is like seeing all the people that don't live where I live.
Yeah, precisely. And that stuff definitely is very cool.
So what's your name and what's your game?
So I'm Izzy Sabur, and the game I'm showing at PAX is Among the Clouds. I was a student at DigiPen in my junior year, and we spent this is a year-long project where I worked with a team of 16 people. I was the creative director and audio lead, so I did all the audio tech, worked with the 2 sound designers, and I did a lot of the designing and prototyping.
Okay, so what like pitch the game?
So Among the Clouds is like a 2-player like asymmetrical like versus game where one person plays like a little like a security camera that's trying to find the other player, which is a robot in the field of similar looking robots. That robot's trying to escape, and the security player is trying to stop them from escaping. And so it's cool because obviously there's just all of these similar looking AI, and one of them is acting a little bit weirder than the rest of them. You got to figure that out. And there's also like the element of the spectator sport where even if you're not playing the game, it's fun to try and like look and see who's acting out. And there are a bunch of mechanics like having to open doors and like running and stuff like that that will make you act different from the AI. Like you have to be able to win. And so, you know, it's a cool back and forth.
So given it's a game about like deception and stealth, how did that impact your like sound design on the game?
So that's actually a very interesting question because there's a whole lot of content that you sort of can't give away. Like if you want to put footsteps on the player, you can't really. If you want to give the player sound effects and they do an action, you can't really. So like we can give sound effects to all of the things that the security player is doing because you know precisely where they are. But we can really not give too much to the person who's running around because if we give away sound effects specifically for them, you'll be able to match that up to whatever action they're doing and be able to like point that out.
So there end up being a lot of like environmental stuff or ambience.
Yeah. And if you played the game, you'll notice that like placing objects or calling down like the capture things to try and capture the player, all of that makes like sounds. But the player themselves doesn't really make too many just to not give them away. And that was something we struggled a whole lot with in the beginning because we wanted to do like sort of a layering thing with how fast the player is moving and stuff like that. But it's difficult because at some point when you layer on the audio effects to try to give game feedback, it becomes gimmicky. And so it was actually very interesting design problem to solve.
And how did you guys like kind of tune or play test the amount of robots?
So a lot of it comes from trying to design the AI to do things that a player would do. So a lot of the time you'll see the AI like stop and like look around, or there's another area in the game where it's like a red light, green light thing where if it's red, the AI stop, and if it's green, the AI continue moving. And even in that zone, we have some AI that just don't obey the laws at all. Just so when the player doesn't obey, it doesn't immediately show them off. So it's like, it's interesting because you have to make the AI like sort of mess up on purpose, so that it isn't super immediately obvious where the actual robot player is.
Is this the first show you've shown this game at?
Yeah. We're only really here with the DigiPen, PAX, our arcade booth, and we typically only show games that have been worked on for the past year. So since we worked on this game this year, we're showing it this year, and then next year we probably won't show it or whatever.
Okay, and how much showing or demoing did you do? Was this in grad shows, or do you guys do game nights or?
So I mean, at DigiPen itself, there are a bunch of shows where we do award ceremonies, stuff like that. But outside of that, it's not really too much. I mean, the idea is that if we wanted to continue working on this game to send it to competitions, we would have and been working over the summer and everything. But a bunch of people on the team actually got internships and stuff from showing off all the work. Our team is 16 people, and there's a lot of ridiculous technology that's in it for a college student. And so this it's funny, the game got us all internships and jobs, and then we didn't work on the game to put it into competitions, but it sort of didn't matter so much. So it's a win-lose in some respects.
Yeah, I mean, the vibe of it seems like it's a much more in-depth version. Because there's other games that explore these type of things.
Yeah.
Even in the indie scene, I can't remember. It was one of the Xbox Live indie games. Had a similar thing where you're just moving from left to right, not necessarily in 3D.
Yeah.
So the general tone I got from this is that it's a well done, well thought out, new ideas on kind of a more. It's not necessarily an established genre, but it's like a note or. yeah, it's something seen before, but just haven't seen it done that well. Like we're implementing the colored ground and to try and like stop and start the AI and stuff like that. So there's like a lot more mechanics than I've seen in these type of games.
Yeah, and the asymmetrical multiplayer stuff was definitely something that a lot of the designers were really, really into, like myself especially, because those kind of games are fun, because it's harder to try and tell which side is better, like which side is easier to win with. And it's very hard to try and tell and like empirically like determine that. And so that part is definitely interesting to design for, but also a struggle as well.
Were you guys able to like play test and like even in your school and kind of see that one side was winning more than you wanted it to?
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of builds where like it would be a landslide in one direction and then and then you change some stuff 2 months later and then it's a landslide in the other direction. Like it was it's interesting because we had to do a lot of stuff to like, I don't know, it was the kind of thing where we had to keep testing it because at no point could we like say, okay, we add this and this will fix all our problems. Like obviously, in design you shouldn't do that. But like especially in a game like this, it's incredibly hard to figure that kind of stuff out.
And did you do the soundtrack as well?
No, I did not compose the soundtrack. I did a bunch of sound effects, but the soundtrack was composed by Chris Saban, who's just a sound designer on the team.
Okay. Cool. Wow. So what was the team breakdown like, discipline-wise?
So we had 7 devs, like 2 physics programmers, a graphics programmer, animation programmer, the general engine programmer, the editor programmer, and then like another editor / particle effects. And then we had 3 designers, myself included. It was just one of us was AI design, the other one was level design, the other one was mechanics design. I was mechanics design. And then the sound designers, we just had like me, which was the sound tech, and then the sound effects dude and the soundtrack dude. And then we had 4 artists, which was like environment, character animation, UI, and like art lead.
That sounds much better than my school project team composition. My school project team composition was 4 programmers, 17 designers, and 10 artists.
That sounds fun. 2 of the devs were also producers, so I mean there's that. But I think part of the thing is that like everyone on this team has worked on at least another year-long project. Like we have another year-long project in sophomore year. And so we all sort of understand the use of each member of the team. We're like, if you're making a team for the first time, maybe you don't think a producer is super necessary. And then after you start, after you're working on it for a little while, you're like, oh man, like this is actually super useful, and just trying to do work without coordinating it or having like a plan, or clearly even something simple as saying I'm working on this and just having that be in an open area so you don't collide with people. Like that stuff is incredibly valuable, but I feel like you only learn it after you work on a team that doesn't have it. So
you were speaking about this being a project that was released this year. This means you're on to the next project or the next thing?
Yep.
What's that?
So at DigiPen we have to continue working on game projects for the next year. I have another game project I'm probably going to do once school starts up again on Tuesday, September 6th. But over the summer, I've been working on just a solo project that has been an interesting thing because I wanted to just kind of do a game where I took a whole lot of the roles on the team and just polished it like a silly amount. Because one of the things about student games is you don't really get a whole lot of time for just straight up like polish, where you're like, okay, I'm not going to add too much mechanics. I'm just going to test and then like remove bugs. You don't get a whole lot of time for that because your dev cycle is like only a year, and so that's not the greatest amount of time.
Ours was 3 months.
Oh,
or no, I was thinking it was 6. It's 6, but we had other classes at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean your scope has something to play into it, but like with a game of this scope, where we had to get it working like fully within like 8 months. And then like had like a month maybe to finish polishing it. Like that's not nearly enough time to get all the polish you really want to. And so I wanted to just make a product that was sort of just me doing that the whole way.
Are you able to kind of choose that as a game project while at DigiPen, or do you have to do like collaborative?
I'm probably going to keep it fully detached from DigiPen in the case that I want to sell it later on. Because if I do want to, and it's attached to DigiPen in any way, I can't do that. So, but I'm probably going to work on another project separately while at school. But yeah.
Cool. So you enjoying PAX so far?
Yeah. It's definitely super cool. I haven't been around to troll the ground floor, but there are a bunch of other DigiPen devs that I know are having booths around. Like I know Distance is up there somewhere. I think Four-Sided Fantasy's up there. They were last year. I think Mechazoo also might be up there. I don't know. I'm just naming like teams I saw last year that may or may not actually be there. But they're all people who are like, DigiPen devs that are working on games after they graduated, and they're all really cool games. So.
And you're here as a photographer, you were saying?
Yeah. I'm here with the student booth doing photography because I enjoy that and they need a photographer. But it's also just fun here because I've been to GDC for the past 2 years in a row, and I've started making a whole lot of contacts. And I have like the own game that I'm trying to work on. So it's like, I'm here as the photographer and for like a couple hours, and then like I get to, troll the ground floor and just be like, hey, also I'm just a dev.
Yeah. I mean, it's always like even this podcast I only do because I have a certain amount of time and access and people I've met, and it's relatively easy, fun to do, and it's good to try and make as much of a show as possible.
Yeah, and it's fun because I've been able to like show off the game I'm working, which it's called Synth Rally. And I've been able to show it off because I'm working on my Surface Pro 3, so I don't have a better computer to work on.
I've heard good things about the Surface Pro.
Yeah, they're pretty solid, but the game is rapidly approaching the point where it's kind of not an option anymore. But it's been cool because I can just show people the game, and it's incredibly easy, and it's like, oh man, look at this thing I worked on. And it's like, I don't know, it's like my first test at being like an actual dev. Which is, it's funny to me. Because, like, I don't know, when you're in college and stuff like that, like, the stuff you do isn't technically, like, real game development, heavy air quotes. In this game, since it's not attached to school at all, is, like, something that I would actually put in, like, my professional portfolio and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's really cool. It's cool that you're already starting that, because I knew, like, when I was in school, one thing that, because I took, like, a programming-specific class in an art, or program in an art school, and it was, like, we'd all have the same things. We all went to the same classes, had the same courses and the same projects. There's very limited amount of time to like show your own thing. That when you're compared in a line with other people, that one guy's gonna be better at whatever, this guy's gonna be, or whoever's gonna be better at different things. So it's good to stand out. So.
And typically people have like internship experience they use their senior year, but I didn't happen to get any internships, and I was like, as much as I would like to sit around and be like, oh, dang, Blizzard and Sony and blah, blah, blah didn't accept me, it's probably just more constructive to work on something. So I just actually did that.
I mean, that's what I when I was looking for a job out of school, I basically just made an Xbox Live indie game in the time, and then I ended up lining up that it finished it right when I got a job. Don't really know ultimately if it, like, helped or hurt, because it didn't come out at the time when I, like, was applying and stuff like that, but it's the best thing you can do is like if you have the time, if you have the inspiration to be working on stuff like that.
Some productivity is a great deal better than none.
Well, thanks for being on the question bus.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Is there anything else you want to plug?
The game Synth Rally, which I'm still working on. I don't really know when I'm going to release it.
Does it have a Twitter account?
Yeah, it does. Where I typically release stuff on like, Screenshot Saturday and stuff like that. And occasionally we'll release test builds because I have stuff like a tutorial that I recently did where I can't really show it to any of my friends I've been showing the game.
Oh, because they know how to play.
Yeah, because, like how are you also going to test a tutorial? So yeah, stuff like that.
So, but like what's the Twitter account name?
It's at Synth Rally.
Okay.
So it's SYNTHRALY.
Just one L?
Two L's.
Two L's.
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a Twitter account?
Yeah, it's at BBQ Steak Tips. And so
steak, I feel. I mean, I'm Canadian, so like I'm as far away from like barbecue.
Yeah.
But it's super interesting to me.
I like doing it all the time. I also really enjoy cooking. So.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like spend most of my time cooking barbecue and Mexican.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Because that's like one of the few foods in Vancouver where I'm from that there isn't a lot. I mean, I think there's places that are good, but it's like there's not as many. Whereas like every sushi place in Vancouver is pretty good at least.
Yeah. It's like being in the north and trying to get like real southern food. It's like not really gonna happen unless you're like in New York.
Okay. So is like barbecued steak tips a thing?
Yeah. No. Yes. Definitely.
I feel like that's too expensive of a meat to barbecue.
No, it depends on the cut. Like if it's like something like a tough cut, like strip or something like that, where, maybe the entire steak isn't the most attractive looking thing in the world, then you can cook it and like cut it up into individual bits.
So I take it as slow cooked and smoked like all of the other meats, or
no.
is it just seared and?
I mean, yeah, you treat it like a steak, but then you just cut it up afterwards.
And put barbecue sauce on it.
Well, yeah, as a marinade or afterwards or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like, what's your? You're gonna rank
I like that we're just talking about this now.
This is not a. This is, yeah. I mean, this is. If you had to rank your barbecue sauces, like what types are your favorite?
I mean, I don't know if I can rank them, but I think two that are always solid that I go with is Sweet Baby Ray's. Sweet Baby Ray's is pretty good, and then Stubbs also I really like. But
I meant less like brand and more like region.
Oh, region. Then I don't know. Because I mean, other than like having a general taste of things in the South, I wouldn't be able to nail down a general area.
Oh no, but I mean like Memphis is the sweet one, right?
Oh yeah.
Like North Carolina is the mustard one.
Yeah.
And then like Louisiana is the like tangy, spicy one.
Yeah. Then I guess Louisiana is the one for me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you originally from the South?
No, I'm from Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just have a affection.
I know. Right?
It's just like
hey man,
it's just like me. I have an affection for barbecue.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.